Yo, what's going on? It's Andrew here at Black Dragon Studios, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we are getting into the event dungeon stage 25. We've managed to build a team that actually can do stage 25 at a fairly high rate, and I'm going to show you guys just the screenshot here of the team comp. So we've got Venus for decreased defense and weaken. We've got low key for block buffs and increased turn meter, increased attack, as well as block active skills, but mainly just in there for the block buffs and the turn meter increase. And then we have Rector Drath for continuous heals, perfect veils, damage mitigation, revives. Yeah, so she's just doing a whole lot over there in the support role. And then we've got Seer for the damage dealer. She'll clear the wave in one shot, which is important for this boss. If you can't kill him before the wave gets a turn, you're definitely going to want to kill the waves in one shot. And then we have Mausoleum Mage just to pair with the Seer, just to be able to nuke the wave efficiently. Because what Seer does is she does damage based off of how many buffs she removes from everybody. So we'll just go in here and I'll show you guys quickly what I mean by this. So Loki there just... What did he just do there? Oh, it's Loki's turn now. Okay, so what I'm going to do here with Loki, just on auto, this is what he'll do. Not sure why he'll do this, but he'll increase our turn meter first. Rector Drath will put the perfect fails, and Loki also places the increased attack. Venus goes in with the decreased defense and weaken. Any champion can be used that has decreased defense and weaken for this job. Loki just gets another turn because he's just that cool. So he's going to hit Odin on auto. That's what he does. He'll place block buffs and he won't spread it. Because he's, cool like that. And, and then... Here comes Mausoleum Mage. She'll put up all these buffs on our team, and Seer will remove all the buffs. She'll remove 5 buffs and deal a massive amount of damage to this wave because of that. Millions of damage there from Seer, just clearing off that wave. Odin comes in with 2 attacks there, so basically his passive procs every 9 turns, so you saw his passive proc there. He placed a block damage buff on himself, and then he would have spread the buffs to the rest of his allies if they were alive. But since they're dead, we don't have to worry about that. And then he used his A3, so he attacks one enemy, he steals all their buffs, and he hits very hard, ignores defense, enemy max HP, and if it kills an enemy, revives a random dead ally with 50% HP and turn meter. It can be very devastating, but it is what it is. He hits hard. What do you expect? It's an endgame dungeon, so it is what it is. And his A2, which he just used there, removes all buffs from all enemies, and then has an 80% chance of placing a decreased defense on all enemies for 2 turns, and also has a high chance of placing a stun on all enemies for 1 turn. It's very annoying, but we don't really care about that. As long as we stay alive, we can continue doing damage with Venus and Seer as the battle goes on, and it's usually about a 3-minute run. Venus is just a nice option for this job because not only does she deal decreased defense and weaken, but she also deals HP burns and poisons, so she's very useful, does a lot of damage, and I would say the run's about 95% from what I've noticed. So it's acceptable, but it's definitely not like a double newt or double RTAC type, 7-second run. But if we could get the speeds up higher, we could even go higher. But right now, just the speeds that I have, this is like where I'm capped, is at level 25. But you could, if you got the HPs and the defenses correct, as well as the speeds, you could probably take this team right up to level 30. Another ability that Loki has that a lot of people don't talk about is his misstep ability. So he does have a higher chance of completely evading an attack, especially if he's under a perfect veil buff. And the perfect veils that Rector Drath gives will mitigate our damage by 20%, and Mausoleum Mage has a cleanse if we need it. Every 3 turns, he can cleanse our team, which is awesome. So, I mean, we're not really concerned about Seer getting a whole lot of damage in at this point. It's mainly just Venus from this point forward. I'm sure Dracomorph could do this job just the same. But Venus is definitely one of your best options for damaging Odin. Because she's just so tanky. Very easy to keep her alive. Has a 33% HP aura for the team. And I'll give you a basic rundown of the speeds I have my team going at. Rector is pretty fast at 242. And then the slowest speed on our team is Seer at 213 speed. As I stated before, we are getting that increased turn meter once every few turns from Loki. But it's not super important. I think the speeds, even without the increased turn meter buff, would be enough to do this dungeon. What else can I say about this team before we go into like the hard stats in the lobby? Resistance, building for resistance is not important against this boss, as you'd have to sacrifice way too many other stats in my opinion, and probably end up with some really awful builds for other areas of the game. But yeah, speed is important. You need high accuracy. I think my lowest accuracy debuffer that I'm running is Venus, who has 400 accuracy and has not missed a debuff yet, unless it's like one of those random 3% misses. So we've got Venus at 400 accuracy. And Seer. These are the stats for Seer. 40k HP. Very low defense, very low attack. Attack is not important for Seer as her damage is based off of enemy max HP, not attack. So we have her going at 213 speed, 100% crit rate, 273 accuracy, 500 or 273% crit damage and 500 accuracy. Very high accuracy is needed to remove all the debuffs consistently, and 100% crit rate is needed because she will never get the increased crit rate buff. She'll just remove it before she attacks, so it's important to build her out the proper way. I've got her in 2-piece crit rate, 2-piece perception, and 3-piece pinpoint. I'm starting to get pinpoint in on most of my builds now, and I mean, I can't say enough about it. It's a great set. You could put a ring on someone, give them 20 accuracy, so now every ring basically has accuracy, so this is great. And then throw on an amulet or a banner and you've got yourself another 10% speed. I managed to find a 3rd piece here, so we actually added in 40 accuracy. And if I could find one more piece, I'll get 1 intercept stack at the start of the round. Each intercept stack blocks a single attempt at placing a crowd control debuff. So essentially, with the max is 9, you could actually get 4 intercept stacks at the beginning of the round. You'd get 32% speed and I think 80 accuracy or something like that. Oh no, 60 accuracy and 32% higher speed. So it's a really good set and definitely something that I'm going to be farming for the next little while. But that's my Seer build. The masteries for Seer, it's really irrelevant, everything except for Helm Smasher. It's really nice to have Helm Smasher here. Ruthless Ambush. Heart of Glory. and bring it down are just like super important. And then accuracy, lore of steel, you know the drill. Okay, so for my Rector Drath, I have her in support, going down into timely intervention and solidarity, so increased resistance, improved parry. I like her going fast. I like her being tanky. Doesn't matter what gear she's in. High HP, high defense, high speed. That's really all that's needed for a Rector Drath to be effective. I have mine at +4. But a +4 Rector Drath definitely is not needed for this dungeon. And then for the Blessing, Miracle Heal. For other areas of the game. My Mausoleum Mage's kit here. He's got all those buffs, increased crit rate, increased defense, block debuffs, and a cleanse, and a heal, and increased turn meter. So he's just nasty. And then a decreased speed on his A1. I use him in Hydra, so War Master and down the healing tree. A little bit of accuracy isn't bad to build into Mazo because of the A1 and decreased speed. But mainly just want him tanky, want him higher resist. So you can use him in other areas of the game. He will resist a lot of stuff. Pretty good speed, 219 speed, 59k HP, and 2500 defense. So as you can see, these numbers aren't crazy. Like, we're not asking for god tier gear, but, you know, pretty good gear on Mazo Mage nonetheless. And then my Venus there, her gear. I've got her in regen gear, and she is my aura. We do have the HP aura, so we're adding on an additional 33% HP in all battles. In regen gear, so she's going to heal every turn. I got her going 223 speed, so 71k HP and 3300 defense. As I stated before, with 400 accuracy. War Master and Master Axer are the ones that we're looking for on Venus. And she will do a lot of damage. I do have a 4-star blessing for Venus. So she gets an additional bunch of stats there and cruelty. So she'll do extra damage with cruelty. And then Loki the Deceiver. He's a debuffer. I've got him in 6-piece perception. And then some interesting accessories. I've got the reaction ring for arena. I've got the protection amulet just because it was the only thing I had on it with double accuracy roll. And then a counterattack ring. His A1 increases the duration of all enemy debuffs and has a higher chance of hitting if he's under a veil or a perfect veil. And counterattacking with that is actually pretty broken because of his A2. Places block active skills and block debuffs on one enemy for 2 turns, and then if he's under a veil or a perfect veil, he can apply a debuff spread effect, taking those debuffs and placing them on all enemies. And with the A1, you can actually increase the duration of block active skills, which is absolutely broken, especially in arena. You're just locked out for the whole game. He can also he can also target an ally with this attack and heal them instead, and then apply a buff spread on all allies, but he never uses that. His A3 is interesting, has a 75% chance of stealing all buffs from a target, so he can actually, another useful thing that he can do is steal the block damage from Odin in this battle. And these effects can't be resisted if this champion is under a veil or a perfect veil. Also fills the turn meters of all allies and increase attack. So really good A3 there. And his passive misstep, he can completely dodge an attack. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. He's just dodging a lot of attacks. Doesn't get debuffed either if he dodges the attack. And my total stats on him, I have him running fast for arena at 271 speed, 2800 defense, 40k HP, and 700 700 accuracy effectively, but it's more because of things like charged focus, swarm smiter, etc., etc. So just went down to defense tree into retribution so you can get more counterattacks, and lore of steel, master hexer, sniper. Sniper's really nice with his A1 and an eagle eye. But yeah, I got my mausoleum mage at 218 speed, 219 speed, and then my seer running at 213 speed. We never want our seer going faster than the buffer, or else we're not going to get that big smack that we were seeing there earlier. And that's really it. So couldn't really, I crammed as much as I possibly could into the team. You can use a different reviver. I've tested out Arbiter. Arbiter does work with this team, but just my Arbiter isn't very tanky, so I opted to go with Director Drath, and Director Drath obviously synergizes a little better with Loki than Arbiter does. So yeah, we've got Venus synergizing with pretty much everybody on this team, and Loki synergizing with Director Drath, and Seer synergizing with Mausoleum Mage. On the opposition side, we're going to run into some problems if these level 350 legendaries get any turns. This guy's going to revive, ally protect, pretty nasty. Can also play stuns, AoE stuns. This guy here can literally one-shot your entire team with this attack here. Stampede. I'm not even kidding you, can literally one-shot your entire team if he gets a turn. So that is absolutely cracked. This guy can provoke. Oh, it plays True Fear on your whole team. Yeah, and decrease speed. It's pretty bad. Yeah, it's not fun. Decrease speed. And then this guy can freeze your whole team, and Odin can just kill your whole team on his own. So, yeah. Now, to get higher up, you could use this exact same team. I would just recommend getting the speeds a little higher. Obviously, if you're going before the wave, then you can clear the dungeon, as this team has all the components it needs in order to be able to do this. So let's just check them out here. It's pretty simple. Place buffs, kill wave, survive long enough for Venus to kill the boss. It's a slow burn. It gets the job done. Venus could be replaced essentially with a champion like Newt, or a champion like Artak, or maybe even Ninja, but then your Seer comp might not be as effective, because decreased defense and weaken is like the thing that does one-shot the wave. If you don't have that, I've tried it without decreased defense and weaken, and it really just doesn't work as well. And it is a must. If we're not killing Odin within the first turn, we need to kill the wave. We can't even leave one or two up. We have to kill them all, so it's very simple. This is where I'll be for the next 8 weeks. I've already gotten about 1,000 gear pieces from this dungeon. With the super raids, a 3-minute run is really like a 1:30 run, so that's acceptable for me and where I'm at. Everyone is at their own stage of the game, obviously. I would say this is like an early endgame account, so take from that what you will. Like, my gear is obviously not super crazy, but I get that my gear is a lot better than most people have on their account. I understand that. But this video is not really targeting newer players anyways. This video is targeting people that are like mid to late game, early end game type stuff, who are just looking for some tips on what they could bring in. Maybe get from stage 20 to stage 22 or stage 22 to stage 25 type stuff. That's what we're doing here today. Massive heal from Rector Drath, putting that continuous heal on Loki. It's very important that we don't go down because then he starts reviving teammates and we really don't want that. So if we could just stay up the whole match, that would be awesome. And that is definitely our intent here. We're not looking to get one-shotted, and once one enemy gets revived, that's where the rounds are. It happens very quickly with Loki, or with Odin. It happens very quickly where a good run can turn into a loss very quickly if even just one of his minions get revived here. You know, we're not dealing with Harriers here and Kales. We're dealing with legendary champions, so we really got to be on our toes. But understand that not every... this is not 100% run. Like, it's a high chance that we will complete the run, so I'll do Super 8s, and I'll be happy to just lose one every 10 rounds or something like that, you know. But, or one every 15 rounds, but there's really no way around it unless you have godlike gear, which I don't, so. So we'll just keep decreased defense and weaken up on Odin pretty much the entire match. Block buffs from Loki. Really important here so that Odin's not always getting the block damage buff. And if he does get it, we can steal it away or we can remove it with Seer. This team's very versatile. It has a lot of counters to what Odin is trying to do, so Seer will do a little bit of damage after the ads are dead. But after they're dead, her job is pretty much done, and it's just up to Venus to just get the close, to get the job done. So that's really it. I'm not going to hold you guys. You guys have seen the builds. If you didn't catch all the stats, you can go back and look again. Or I'll hold up all the stats again one by one without really talking right at the end of the video, so you guys don't have to like flip back and forth to certain parts of the video to get the stats if you want them. And that'll be it.